5 episodes in and I'm already out of ideas. I mean, it was a good run. 4 species out of 35 is like a 12%. I think that's passing. I wish there was some way that I could invite someone else on, someone within the Animal Crossing community that's known and respected. We could come up with a design together and then make a collaboration of sorts. Wait a minute. What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to a very special episode of the Villager Lab. And I say very special because we have a very special guest that's going to be helping out. I invited my friend Lex from Lex Play to help design the villager, come up with a concept. We could bounce some ideas off of each other. It turned out really cool, so I'm excited for you guys to see it. Let's just get straight into it. So this is the concept that Lex came up with. She mentioned that her favorite color was blue, so she wanted to have that as a base, and she was trying to decide between an ocean, like tropical theme, or a more space theme. She mentioned that June, the CUB, is already one that has kind of a tropical theme, so she went with the space theme. A lot of star elements in this design. There's a little bit of a motif going on, which I really like. There's a theme that it follows, but it's not too over the top, which is really good. The concept art is pretty clear, so I don't think I'm going to have to change it too much whenever I actually put it on the villager. I'll probably have to change a little bit just because going from 2D to 3D, there's always going to be some kind of difference, but I think we're going to be able to get it pretty close. I'm starting here with the crown because I foresee this being very complicated. I love the fact that it is a unique crown, not something that you would ever see in the game, but I think Lex decided to go with the most complicated crown design that could be done. The way that I'm reading the design is that it's spiraling in and out. I'm not really sure how to even describe it, but it's looping within itself, if that makes sense. So I don't entirely know how I'm supposed to do that here in Blender. I'm not really a 3D modeler, so I don't have the skills to figure that out on my own. I may end up having to look up a tutorial, though I don't even know what I would look up, but I'm gonna try my best to do it myself. All right, I did go ahead and look up a tutorial. I found out about this twist modifier. I'm not going to get too into it because obviously this isn't a Blender tutorial, but this is sort of the concept that I'm going for with a cylinder wrapping around itself. And then now that we've got this curving around itself, all we have to do is just assign this to a curve, and basically that will just turn it into a circular crown. Obviously, I'm going to have to clean this up a little bit, but this is the look that we're going for. I actually think that this is going to look really cool. I've been working a bit to get this to actually fit on the head right. I think in Lex's initial concept, the material that crown would be something that's more soft, and so when you put it down on a rounded object, it would form around that object. The way that I'm kind of seeing it on the actual 3D model is something more solid, like a metal crown where it wouldn't deform, because I think the way that it looks right now, it would look a little bit weird if it was deforming. I deformed it a little bit over the head, but not so much where it looks like it's a piece of fabric or something like that. I don't want the crown to fall so far down that it takes away from the focal point of the face. You still want that face to be the focal point. So I'm going to have it backed up just a little bit and make it more so a metal type crown as opposed to something that's hanging off of the head. The colors on here aren't exact, but this is a little bit of an idea of how it will look in the game, obviously, without Bluebear's face. I did go ahead and make the body. I made a little bit of a change. I saw that Lex did a white to blue gradient on the legs, and I liked that concept, so I also did it very subtly on the ears. I may have to up it a little bit, make it a little bit more white. I'm not sure how well it's going to show up in the game, but I do like that. I also quickly threw together the way that the armbands would look. I was planning on changing it, but I think they actually look pretty good. They're a little bit more spread out than they are on the concept art, but I think the way that they are in the concept art would make it so that if you're too far away, it would just look like she's got white arms. It would all kind of blend together if it's too close. So I think separation like this is going to be a little bit better since their arms are a little bit shorter in the game than on the art. The more that I look at the crown, the more I feel like something needs to be changed. I'm not sure what, and not necessarily changed, but I guess just added to. My thought is to change the color of the star or change something with the star just so it stands out a little bit more against the circular part of the crown. I think with the star being just one color, it makes it look really flat and it makes the angles a little bit more difficult to determine whenever you're looking at it. So I might try to change something. I don't know if I'm going to do a color or what. I kind of have something like this in mind, obviously not the color and not this bold, but something where there's a line down the middle of a point, a dark side and a light side, so that there can be some type of separation and it looks maybe a little bit more 3D. I'm not sure how it'll look, but that's just the idea that I'm going for. I guess this is probably a better example of what I mean. I've been messing with a lot of different ideas, and this is the closest one that I've got to something that looks decent, and even then this does not look very good, so I think I'm just going to keep it white, see how it looks in the game, because it may look fine in game just staying white. If not, I have to figure something out. But I think I want to go ahead and move on to the eyes, which I don't really foresee being a problem. But then again, I've had issues with things that I've thought were not going to be a problem before. So we'll see. I'm going to keep the eyes basically exactly the same. I do want to do a little bit of a change because right now it's just white on that blue color. Essentially, the whole concept is just two colors, that blue color and that white color. I've noticed that a lot of the characters in the game have three colors that go into their eyes. So whether that's like the white eyes and then the black pupil and some different colored iris, or sometimes they have a black pupil, white eyes, and then some type of eyelid that's either a darker or lighter color, usually darker. I think I want to try to do a darker blue for an eyelid, not go too over the top with it, but just something kind of bordering the top of the eye just to add a little bit of separation and interest to that area. That, of course, isn't to say that characters don't have just two colors on their eye of white and black, like Anchovy has it. I know that Rolled has it, but those characters look very goofy, and that's really not what we're going for with this. We want something cute as opposed to looking funny in the eyes, so that's why I'm trying to go with that three-color concept. Honestly, even doing something as simple as Ava right here, where she's got black eyes in the middle, white eyes around it, and then just a very simple colored border that follows along with the other colors in her theme, I think would look really nice. I'm going to keep the darker blue up near the top of the eye as opposed to going around the entire eye. That may change, I'm not sure yet, depends on how good it looks or if it looks better the other way. I just don't want to stray too far away from Lex's initial concept. She's a fairly cartoony looking character, so I'm not that concerned with having shadows and lights and things that look correct on there, but I do want there to be some visual interest because like I said, there's only two colors right now, and I think that's going to make the character look really flat, which looks fine on a 2D drawing, but on a 3D model, you want more stuff to pop. A lot of the gradients are a good idea, like with the legs and with the ears. We may even have to go gradients in some other areas if things stay looking a little too flat. I'm also really quick just going to make the mouth just so we can see how this looks in the game and figure out where we want to go from there. So this is our rough version in-game. Obviously, it's not perfect. I was just trying to get a concept of what it would look like. I did send this over to Lex, and we agreed on two things. Firstly, we agreed that the crown should be a completely different color, not white, not blue, because right now it blends in way too much, and you honestly can't even tell what's going on. So I figured we can do something kind of silver, look a little bit metallic, almost like Tian Shang with his crown. And I think that'll help a lot with what I was talking about before with like the visual interest and the different colors. Just another color in there is going to make things look a little bit nicer, I think. And then Lex also mentioned that we should probably add some eyelashes to the eyes, which I think is a really great idea. That's going to help once again with the separation of the body from the eyes so it doesn't look like it's just a sticker slapped on top of the body. Other than that, I think the mouth looks fine. I think the armbands look fine. I think everything else looks fine. It's mainly the eyes and the crown that I think need to be revised. These are the eyelashes that we're going with. I think they look really nice on there. They're not too out there, but they're also standing out enough. I also made the dark blue around the eyes go all the way around the eyes, and then I made it a lot thicker, which I think is going to help a lot with the eye separation, like I had said. This may be too thick. We'll have to see how it looks on the character, but for now, I know that I need to go a little bit thicker because you couldn't even see it in the game. Okay, yeah, that is way too thick. She looks sleep deprived. I think, honestly, all that I have to do is go a little bit more thin near the bottom. I think the top looks fine, but if I thin it out a little bit more towards the bottom, I think that'll look a little bit nicer. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I barely removed any pixels, but even that very small difference made a huge difference overall in the design to keep her from looking like she hasn't slept in a couple of weeks too. Just looking, I don't know, more cute, maybe like it's makeup around the eyes or something, I'm not really sure. I'm also trying to see how we want to do the little twinkles around the eyes. In the initial concept art, it's more just a cluster of them. I thought maybe it would look good with them in a line kind of around the eyes, but I don't think that looks very good. I think I'm probably just going to keep it as the cluster. With the eyelids, obviously we don't know what the eyelids would look like because the concept art is just a drawing with her eyes open, so we don't know what they look like closed. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of interpretation for that. My initial thought is that whenever the eyelids are fully closed, you can see that there's sparkles similar to around the eyes, but it sort of looks like they're wearing some type of glittery makeup or something like that. In terms of colors, I'm really not sure. I guess we'll just keep it similar blue, maybe like a different hue of that color or something. And then the sparkles, I was thinking white, but I think white might be a little bit too much and it will blend in a lot with the sparkles around the eyes. So maybe a darker blue, maybe the same color blue as around the eyelashes. Yeah, I don't know about this. It kind of looks like she's got a disease on her eyelids, which I don't think we really want to go for with our cute, like almost royal looking villager. So may have to change it up. I still do like the idea of having glittery eyelids. I think it's just the colors and the way that I'm actually making the sparkles that are becoming the issue. So I've been thinking about the character a lot and the kind of concept. Initially, I was thinking it's very space themed, but it's not necessarily space themed. It's more star themed. And so, what kind of came to mind with that? The name is North, and my idea, or something that I kind of think of, is the Aurora Borealis. I'm thinking doing something similar to Aurora Borealis, like this picture. You can see there's some whites of sparkles, but then there's also it's going from like a purple to sort of a greenish bluish color, and I think that that would lead to some really cool visual interest whenever the character closes her eyes, and that will once again be another very subtle degree of separation from the blues and whites. I'm not going to go as purple or as green as you can see on this picture, but I think that having a purplish blue and a greenish blue would look really cool, and having that gradient is going to allow for things to look a little bit more 3D as opposed to flat, which, like I said, is kind of what we're trying to go for. Yeah, I'm really liking the way that this looks, and I think it'll be good whenever we get it on the character, because when the character blinks, you'll see some of that purple, but it'll be so quick that it's not even really going to register in your brain. It's more so your brain is just realizing, oh, hey, there's another color here, so it adds a little bit more visual interest without being over the top, like, hey, here's purple. The last thing that I need to work on is the mouth, and I want to keep the mouth really simple because at this point we've made the eyes fairly complicated, and of course there's a crown up at the top half, so I don't want a third thing fighting for focus on the villager, so I think I'm just going to keep things really, really simple. A lot of the cubs have pink or reds on the inside of their mouths, which is fine for them, but with this character being such a almost neon blue, I think that a pink color would clash just way too much. Like I said, I don't want to go too much. I was thinking maybe like an Aurora Borealis color inside the mouth, but that would be way too much for sure. So I think instead what I'm going to do is just do a pretty dark purple and then have the tongue be a little bit more of a light purple so that it can kind of play into that, similar to the eyelids where it's like where they're closing, you can see it, but whenever the mouth is closed, then you're not going to be able to see it, and it's just something more subtle. Okay, so something like this. I don't know if this is going to be too dark or not, but the character is pretty vibrant, so I think having something on the other side of the scale, really, really light color to a really dark color on the inside of the mouth, I think will look completely fine. With that idea down, I think really all that I need to do is finalize all the textures, then we can get it in game, we can see how it looks, and we can also hear what Lex thinks.
She's so cute. What the heck?
I do like
Oh,
the tiara idea to gift her was very good because it's actually got a little purple diamond in it, and it kind of matches like the purple of her mouth and the purple of
yeah.
her eyelids, which I think works really well with that.
I adore her. I love her sleeves and her little earring. She is such a baddie. No, I think it turned out perfect.
I'm super happy with how this one turned out, and of course, a huge thanks to Lex for coming up with the concept and working with me on this one. I've always kind of wanted the series to have other people because obviously, whenever game designers are creating characters, it's not just one person in an echo chamber seeing what works for them. It's a collaborative effort. So I do appreciate the fact that Lex was able to come on and give kind of a different perspective on things. And I know that this was something that I wouldn't really be able to do or come up with on my own. So I think that that makes this a little bit more interesting. If you for some reason are not already subscribed to Lex, I would definitely suggest going and do that. She does a lot of build videos, things like that. It's really great content. Of course, go check her out. I have the link in the description and here at the end of the video as well. As always, if you end up drawing some art of this character or any character from the Villager Lab series, feel free to send it to me on any of my social medias. I would love to see it, and I'm sure Lex would as well, so I'll send it her way. With all that out of the way, I appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you in the next Villager Lab.